Common values. Common goals. Common sense. The Common Sense Podcast with Semi Bird.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. You know, I'm lost in time. I don't even know what episode this is. I'm kidding. Welcome back to Common Sense with Semi Bird, candidate for Washington State Governor. And I'm going to change that a little bit. Washington State Republican Party endorsed candidate for Washington State Governor. And that is thankful to all of you. Our delegates were amazing. All of you who have been supporting us, all of you who have donated, all of you who have put your blood, sweat, and tears behind our campaign, all of you with an open mind who got out there, waved signs, just really believed in our mission. And our mission was to bring unity. Our mission was for common sense. Our mission was just to bring representation of the people, all of the citizens of Washington State, regardless of whether you're a Democrat, an independent, Republican, Libertarian, or nothing at all. And believe it or not, there's a lot of people who have never voted before. And I'm not talking young people. There's a lot of people out there who are in their 30s and 40s who have never voted. That's right. And it's not that they're just disenfranchised. They're just unengaged. Many people out there believe that their vote doesn't count, and not because of election integrity. It's because they're seeing that the system doesn't work for them, based on some of the people that are talking to me. They believe that no matter what they do, it's the wealthy, it's the powerful. They're the ones who make the decisions. They're the ones who control government. They're the ones who control everything. And let me tell you, that's not true. This is a constitutional republic. And maybe that's why they stop teaching civics in classrooms, because they don't want us to know what's going on. They don't want us to understand that a constitutional republic says that we the people have the power. That's the difference. And that a democracy operates within that constitutional republic. Well, maybe we'll talk about that. But first, thank you. And let's talk about the convention of last week. I'm going to readjust my headphones because I'm going to lean into this. It's going to get maybe spicy today. We've got some questions. Again, for all of you that are tuning in for the first time, we've got a chat room that it's going to get a feed from Rumble, from Twitter, from Facebook, from YouTube. And then we have questions that I have not read. It's going to be wonderful. I'm going to go a little bit longer today. I've got a lot to say. And I want to make sure I share with you how I'm feeling, share with you my gratitude, share with you maybe some frustration, concerns. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I want to hear from you. I want to see what you have to say and answer all of your questions. We're going to get through it today. Last week was amazing. And if you were watching the media, you were hearing things like it was chaos. It was Armageddon. I'm being crazy. Maybe not. It was beautiful. And let me give you my take on it. My wife and I and my daughter showed up. You know, Hannah, my daughter, my youngest of our three. Hannah stayed in the hotel day one, but we arrived first thing in the morning, and it was me. Ann came up later with Hannah, and then came over as soon as they got, because Hannah was in school. And I was there first thing in the morning, meeting and greeting people, and I was there all day. I mean, hugs, conversations, asking questions, meeting people for the first time, seeing my friends that I've met over the last year and a half, campaigning, friends, family, as it would. And you know, my brother Bernard was there, and it was a beautiful thing. And then the next day, we came to the convention hall, and more of the same. And then we went in to start the convention. And then I got a text, and then people are coming up to me and they're going, "What's going on? I heard this and I heard that." And they said, and I said, "What are you hearing?" And they're like, "I heard they're going to take this from you. And I heard you're not going to get endorsed." And I like, "We haven't even taken a vote yet. What are you talking about?" come on now, because sometimes people get excited and, speculate and things of that nature. And I go with what we know. I go with what we see. And then I got a message from someone who is within the party, who's a leader, a county leader within the party, someone who I trust and who's very professional, very knowledgeable and objective, someone I respect greatly. And he says, send me something's going on. I'm not going to tell you. And I don't want you to ask. And I want you to trust that the right thing will be done. And I'm like, oh man, what the heck is going on? And I really did not know. I had no idea. And I hope you understand, if you can just be with me in this. And so I was there with my wife, and then I was in the front rows, and I'm still a delegate. I'm a delegate because I'm a PCO. I'm also the party chairman for Benton County, but I'm there as a delegate. We have a chairman of the caucuses and conventions, and so I'm out of it. But I'm just a delegate, and we're having fun still. Positive attitude, think positive thoughts, praying, and then we get through all the different committee presentations. And by the way, my friends, I'm saying hello to you all who are tuning in, and I'll come back and say thank you and acknowledge you guys over here. We have our chat room, and guys, keep in mind it's a little screen with a bunch of people that are there, and I'll come back and scan through and see all of your comments. So bear with me, you guys, because I'm not seeing what you're putting up there. And so we get through all the committee reports, and the candidate committee report comes in, and the chair of the candidate committee presents, and she says, again, I'm going to summarize, and she says that they apparently met the night before, something that I did not know, and apparently a lot of other people didn't know, except for them. They met again, and they disqualified me. So here we had a report that came out April 12th, or that was when it was supposed to come out. That was the cutoff. It came out that following Monday, which was fine. It was a little late. It's fine. And, I passed a background investigation. Dave Reichert passed a background investigation. All the other candidates who passed. And it was a pass and fail. And they had a criteria, and we'll talk about that. And then they said I did not pass or something. I was just disqualified. I don't want to add words. And those of you who were there, you can throw your 2 cents in there. And we're going, what? And then all of a sudden, the convention hall comes alive. And keep in mind, this is a historic record number. Almost 2,000 people. I think the number was 1,830 or something like that. And that's delegates, but there's guests. So I think that adds up to approximately 2,000 folks or something. That's the numbers I've heard. But certainly 1,830 delegates on the floor, not to mention the guests. And people were really in angst about that because the investigation, the background was done on all candidates. And the background investigation, now I'm going to get into that. It goes back 15 years. And the criteria is 15 years. Have you ever had a felony in 15 years? Have you ever had a bankruptcy, any sexual crimes or domestic violence and things of that nature? And of course, I've never had a felony my entire life. Never, obviously, no domestic violence, no sexual anything at all, anything, nothing. No bankruptcy within 15 years, none of that. And they said, well, it was an article that came out in the Seattle Times about a misdemeanor that I had in 1993, so 31 years ago. And because it came out in the Seattle Times, apparently they were taking their cues from the Seattle Times. And the Seattle Times got me disqualified. It was interesting. And so a gentleman from the floor made an amendment to that report to say, no, we want you to restore the convention back to the way it was when we showed up, to honor your original report, to honor your criteria for your background in light of the Seattle Times, put things back. We want to vote for governor because in their report, they said, we've decided we're going to disqualify Semi Bird and we are not going to do any endorsement for governor. I say again, we're going to disqualify Semi Bird and we are not going to do any endorsement for governor. That is what the chairwoman of that candidate committee said. And the people, the delegates, are saying not only no, but heck no. And then that's when that gentleman again brought forward an amendment to that candidate committee report. That was it. And then they took a vote, and they went back and forth. They had, discussion on it, and boy, was there some discussion. The chaos that they were talking about was people were, they were bringing their voices, and it was real, and it was passionate. No chairs were thrown, no shoes were thrown, no fighting, nothing crazy, but it was passionate, and I understand why. I was very disappointed in that report, naturally, but the people's will was done. And overwhelming response and vote said, no, you are not going to steal this from us. So I'm going to pause there, and I'm going to share with you the other candidate who I never saw the entire time during the convention. Dave Reichert, I did not see him the entire time. I was on the floor the whole time, meaning in the convention hall. So either in the convention as a delegate participating and voting, and then or outside before the convention, meeting and greeting people, where the booths were. We had a beautiful booth. Thank you, team, for setting that up and volunteers. It was amazing. So for days, since moment one when the doors opened, we were present and there meeting and greeting people. I did not see Mr. Reichert at all. But his response to the media was this, and I want you guys to tune in. And again, this is never in disrespect for Mr. Reichert, because I don't roll that way. That's just not my style. I don't call names. I don't do that. And I don't support that. He stated to the press, some leaders of the GOP told me that they were going to disqualify Semi, and then they changed the rules. And then he proceeded to attack the party and the convention, the delegates, and he said no, and I'm asking them to pull my name, and I'm out. I never saw him. That's my summary of what he said. You guys please look it up. And because I don't have the article here, I could pull it up, I guess, on the screen, and we're going to be busy tonight. But I want you to look up and listen to what he said. He did many interviews, so I don't want to put words in his mouth. I'm hoping you're hearing me say that. I don't want to misrepresent anything he said. But I'm curious when he says, certain leaders from the GOP told me that they were going to disqualify Semi Bird. How is it that he was told that when I didn't even know what they were going to do until I showed up as a delegate that morning? I don't understand that. How would he know this? Was this pre-planned? What was the deal? And I'm not trying to play dumb, but that's a tell for all of us. And then he proceeded to call me a crook and a snake oil salesman. Now, I don't take that personal. Like, I don't take all the other stuff that they're doing to me personal. Again, you can't buy me, right? You can't bribe me, can't intimidate me, you can't threaten me, you cannot, it's not going to work. It's not. And it's not because I don't have feelings or anything. It's just that this is all facilitated by much higher. It's called redemption, forgiveness, and we'll talk maybe a little bit more about that. The next day, we came in because it was so much work to be done. Other candidates did their speeches, and it was great, and it was wonderful. And then the next day, I was able to deliver my speech, and then we did voting. And I will say this to give the report. We received 72% of the vote, which is a supermajority. We made history. We are the first, I am the first Black American ever to be nominated, endorsed by any party in the state of Washington. And I don't want anyone to say, well, he's playing the race card. It's not. It's called the American card. And I've said this over and over again. I don't hide from who I am. No one should be ashamed of their heritage or ethnicity. This is America. That whole melting pot, whether you're Hispanic American, white American, African American, Asian American, we're Americans. I acknowledge that. But can we not be proud of making history? You delegates, you citizens, all of you who have been rallying and supporting this, you did this. We did this together. And I want you to be proud of it. And I don't want you to let anyone take that away from us. Don't let them diffuse this or dilute it. We made history. And then also all of you delegates who showed up, the largest gathering of delegates in Washington state history, you did that. And I'm sorry to the Dave Reichert candidate or delegates that your candidate didn't show for you. But I welcome you to our campaign. And I praise you, all of you who stood for your candidate and voted for your candidate. And I want to make this very clear. Dave Reichert's name was on that ballot. Dave Reichert's name was on that ballot, as it should be. And I was thankful. That was that amendment that was made. Both names on that ballot like it was before, as it should be. And for those Reichert delegates who voted for him, I support you. I support your vote. I support your voice. All of you who brought discussion, who were not in support of me remaining on, your voice, your right, I support that as well. That is what we are fighting for. That's what we support. Okay, I'm going to come over here, you guys. There's a lot of comments here, and I just want to catch up to what is being said. So let me get my mouse in order. That was kind of funny if you think about it. I didn't plan it. Kind of like getting your house in order. Bear with me. All right. I'm going to go up here. Someone said Seahawks. Who they? Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I got to go here. Moose Beans, Brother Beans said, what is just an American? Moose, I don't know what is just an American. If I said that, don't let me babble. An American. If I have to tell you what an American is, it's someone who has citizenship in this nation. The United States of America, someone who lives here, who's a citizen of this nation, is an American. There's that. Moose. The American card. Please sign me up. I love that. Janitor. Okay. And I'm going to go up here, you guys. Bear with me. There's so much to catch up on. Again, we're going to be here. Usually I do this in balance because I have another meeting to go to. But man, and thank you, Don. Let's see here. Being at the convention was amazing. You wore D. Oh, sweet D. I got to say that. Boy, my girl, don't even get me started. Super amazing, my dear friend. As soon as I saw it, like, yes, thank you, Miss Press. Thank you for being here. Always live. We take it as it comes. And again, good, bad. I mean, bring it. That's live. That's what we do. Paul and Teresa. Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Tigers. I know that's French. Jean. Thank you. Don, I'm going to go through this. Thank you, guys. Make sure I don't miss anybody. We like it spicy, distinctive. Yes. Oh, I know that name. That's a great company in North Bend. I'm going to say it. Distinctive Dentures, guys. North Bend. Amazing company. Pete Serrano. Is Pete Serrano on here? That's my friend. So Serrano. Okay. Pete Serrano is running for Attorney General. He is endorsed. He is the only Republican candidate. But you know, whether Pete was a Republican or a Martian, this is a good man. He represents all citizens of Washington State. I know this man. I've known him for years. I know his family. He is the right man for the job. I'm proud to be on this journey with him. He is a personal friend, and I support him 100%. He is the right man. How are you going to win over pro-choice voters? Here we go. Now we're getting into it. How are we going to win over pro-choice voters for the general election? Also, it was great seeing you at the convention. Barab, I know this name, and good seeing you. Thank you so much, Barab. So here's the deal. Pro-choice voters. We have a law, 9.02.100, I believe it is. And you guys correct me if I'm wrong. So we have a law on this. The governor's job is not to take away anybody's civil rights or civil liberties. The governor's job is to enforce the law. Until the law is changed, my job under Article 3 is to enforce the law. You know where I'm at in this. So I'm very clear. Life begins at conception and ends at the end of natural life, right? That expiration of natural life. That is my belief. And I believe that we should be going out into communities. We should be talking, especially the number one group that has the most abortions in America or black and brown women. We should be asking ourselves why. Why are we not going into all communities and trying to prevent young women from finding themselves in situations where they have unexpected pregnancies? Why are we not supporting adoption? Why are we not helping young men to understand the responsibilities and the consequences? Why are we not bringing more awareness? So there's prevention that we should be talking about. Those are things we can do. But until the laws are changed, the law is the law. And so we have to recognize that there's government and the Constitution. And that Constitution is the foundation of my governance. So to your question on that, it's not this war between pro-life and pro-choice. I understand what I believe in, and I'll always stand for what I believe in. But as governor, the law is the law until the law changes. And that law has been argued back and forth in the will of the people until that changes and legislature changes. That is the way it is. And so it's not even an argument. And there's so many other things that we need to be discussing. Not that life is not important. It always is. And so let's bring those options. You want to talk about choice? How about choice for adoption? All right, let's protect those young women who find themselves in that situation. Give them a choice to hear that heartbeat and to get that care, that prenatal care, so they have the choice to keep that child. We can talk about those choices. I think those are wonderful options. And so thank you for asking that question. And by the way, guys, I may not always answer a question the way you want, but I'll always be truthful with you. How do you listen live? KV. And so I don't know. So Lynette, thank you. So I did an interview, and guys, it'll be recorded. So I did an interview with Ari Hoffman. It was fiery, and I want you guys to listen. It's at 5:15 and 5:30, but don't worry, it's going to be recorded, and we're going to play it. We're going to record it and put it up, so you'll be able to see it tonight or tomorrow. So don't worry about that. We're going to get it for you. You don't want to miss this one. Trust me on that. And I know there's a conflict because all this is coming in. Get this. Mr. Nobody from Nowhere, Mr. Tainted and Tarnished, Mr. Marginalized, Mr. Dismissed, Mr. Leviathan, they've called me the devil. Oh, yeah, they have. And this is the faith leader from the WSRP. And again, this is not on the WSRP, who she is. I want to take a pause. During the convention, WSRP Chairman Jim Walsh, that man, his parliamentary prowess, his leadership during the convention, and I'm not saying this to, you know me, I don't kiss anything, I don't pander. I'm a nice guy, true. But truth is truth. That man handled his business. If you watch him in action, and I loved what he said about the convention. This was live. He said it was real. And Republicans don't silence people. Republicans don't silence people. These are delegates. This is their convention. If you understand how a central committee works and those PCOs, those precinct committee officers, if you're on an executive board or you're a chairman of a county, which I am, we serve those precinct committee officers. At least that's how I run my county. And when I say I run it, I don't really run anything. I serve. So I share leadership with my executive board. That's my choice as chairman. But those PCOs and those captains who serve those communities, that's how it should be. I know there's some counties, especially one on the west side of the mountains, where they blackball candidates and they blackball their PCOs if they don't pay or they don't do what their chairman and leadership tells them to do. That's not the way it's supposed to work. But Chairman Walsh, to be commended. That man handled his business. I loved watching him in action. We don't always agree on things. And he has every right to support who he wants to support. But he did well. And I was in admiration. So I had to stop to say that. So Lynette, yes, we'll make sure we record it. Learned a lot about your campaign a few days ago. Eager to hear more. Thank you. And I'd always come back on here. Again, we do this. We have a lot of podcasts. We have 21 podcasts up. So we keep it real. I'll always be available. I answer questions. I've been wanting to debate. But apparently people are afraid to debate me. And I guess I understand. You can call it a strategic decision. Let's see. Buckley. Oh, Buckley, 19 Special Forces groups in Buckley, but it's an amazing place. And the process worked in Spokane. I agreed. And media tried to make it a farce and spun it. And yes, Jason, it was surreal. It was a blessing, and it was self-governance where we the people stand up and we say that we determine what happens in our nation. We determine what happens in our state. We get out the vote. We go out there and we knock on doors. We choose who our candidate is, not the rich and powerful, not the political class. And we're going to talk about that. We need to talk about that. This is no revolution. We're not extremists. We're simply saying we're average Jane, average Joe, average whatever you want to call us. We're just people. That's all we are. That's all I am. That's why they look down at me and say, he's not viable. And don't try to use a misdemeanor or anything else you want to do as an excuse. And I'll talk about that. I think, my friends, what bugs them the most, what bothers them as they try to lay out this pattern of terrible behavior, the devil, the Leviathan, the evil one, he whose name shall not be mentioned. They have to do that because I merely got in their way. They tried to broker a deal, offer me checks will be written, says the broker. Oh, we'll talk about that too. Not tonight. Maybe later. Mr. Opinion editor and his friend. Truth telling. Okay. Do you want to tell truth? We'll tell truth. I was going to keep my mouth shut because I'm not about blowing things up. I'm not about putting stuff out there like that. I'm like, you tried to roll the dice. You tried to play. I said no, and we were cool, right? But you want to come out with all this stuff. You want to start talking and spinning and lying in many cases. And then, no, we don't do that. But if you want to play, I mean, I'm down. Okay, we'll keep going. I told you we're going to go long. I'm not even drinking yet. Okay, I'm kidding. I'm sure that's going to be recorded. Well, it is recorded. It's live. Okay. Thank you, everybody. I'm fired up tonight. I want to blame it on Ari. It was a good show. We got crazy. Someone said your county expressed concern about you. Okay, good. Allegedly reneging on your contract with local. I don't understand. I don't understand. So Roberta, thank you. Please come down and restate that with more clarity, because I like specifics. I like that you said 501c3. I know what it is. Someone said your county expressed concern about your campaign allegedly reneging, I know what that is, on a contract with a local. Yeah, I don't know what that is. So I'm looking forward to that one. Boy, oh boy. You guys, it's going to roll in. Politics should never be an excuse for evil and dirty tricks, lies, or anything else, but I guess it is. Pro-choice for the baby, we talked about that. Thank you. Boy, pro-choice again in abortion, we talked about that. We aren't represented. Oh, no, we're not represented enough. And that is a fact. Of the people, by the people, for the people. Abraham Lincoln, Gettysburg Address. If you believe in that, well, that means, the people. The people could be a janitor. The people could be someone who works in excavation, someone who just got their citizenship in January, like my son-in-law, who I love and I'm very proud of. That's right. Vicente. Very proud of him. My number one, who she likes to be called, my first daughter's husband. Yeah. He's a citizen of this country. And so therefore, he can vote. That's the law, and he's lawful now. So that's the people. A teacher, a police officer, a dentist, a doctor, yes, a business owner, a small business owner, anybody, garbage collector, excavator, anybody is we the people. Not big names, not big money, not this group who says, that's our guy, that's our girl. We're going to bring all the politicians in. We're going to bring all the big names in. We're going to bring all the money. Hey, Steve, Bob, Joe, Jane, let's bring some cash in. That's who we're going to back. That's the horse we're going to run. Does that represent us? Are we being represented with that? And are they buying access? What do you think? We're no fools anymore. COVID woke us up in terms of our children, our babies. Are you ready to roll now? Well, I'll tell you one thing. Those delegates in Spokane, 1,830, supermajority, 72%. Let's break this down scientifically. A delegate represents a county. You had a certain amount of delegates based on the size of their county, right? Registered voters. That's what determined how many delegates per county. And within a county, you have precincts, which are essentially neighborhoods. And those precincts had caucuses. Stay with me. So those delegates for those counties, all 39 counties spread out around the state and representing those precincts, those neighborhoods within, do you see the value of this endorsement? Not just by name, but by the representation. 72% of all of them placed all throughout the state, representing all those neighborhoods. Do you see what that 72% means for all of us who supports Byrd for governor? Do you see why that is the greatest poll that you could ever have? A 72% Byrd for governor over Reichert for governor? That wasn't a paid-for poll like Echelon Insights, the last one paid for by the same man who brought forth that website to demonize, vilify, and attack me and my family. Not that paid-for poll, or the Echelon Insights poll before that the Reichert campaign paid for. This was a poll of the people, those delegates who represents all those counties and all those neighborhoods. Now we go into the primary. And before the primary, when we have those foot soldiers in those counties, in those precincts, who are knocking on doors, you see the power of those delegates who showed up. We showed up. And why I'm on that, you're going to hear in interviews, I believe Ari said, you brought all of those delegates. I didn't bring anyone anywhere. These are grown people. I didn't bring anybody anywhere. They brought themselves there. Do you think I knew who was going to show up or where they would show up for me? I didn't know that. You all know I didn't know that. Some of you made a choice right there. And I encourage you to come on and make a comment. If you showed up there and you showed up with an open mind and then you met me or you talked to me or you talked to people and you said, after talking, some of you showed up and some of you have seen this on social media. I saw a video from a young man from Cle Elum. He did a video on this. He showed up as a Reichert voter. And based on what he saw from his candidate, he is no longer a Reichert voter. You should look that up. So again, these people showed up on their own volition, on their own accord, to support their candidate. And I had no idea. So I didn't bring anybody anywhere. Don't try to dilute or undervalue those delegates, those voters, those citizens who are self-governing. We're not done. Democrats, Harvard, okay, yeah. We know what's going on. Getting paid bonuses. Lifelong resident has been, thank you. Yep. Yeah, no, things are going downhill. I was raised in Seattle. I've been here since I was 6 years old. I'm a 63-year-old man now. No, stay in the fight. Oh, our victory last week, it shows what we can do. Semi Byrd, they've been saying we have been out of money for how long? Y'all, come on now. Put it in. How long have we been out of money? Meaning they've said, he has no money, he cannot win, he has no name brand recognition, right? He's evil. You know, you've heard it all. We won the convention, we're going to win the primary, and we're going to win the general election. And we'll talk about that. Thank you all. We're going to keep rolling. And we're going to get some questions. We got time. Trust me in this. I just don't want to miss anybody. You guys are saying some good things. We're good. I'm bouncing. We're getting done. Okay, I'm going to get to some questions, you guys. And so if I miss in you guys, and yeah, someone said a misdemeanor and they said LOL. Seriously. Let me talk about this, you guys. And I'm going to do this. In 1993, I know some of you are not old enough, but 1993, I used my father's credit. I lied on a credit application to get an $1,800 credit line. And that was wrong. That was wrong. I lied 31 years ago. I was bitter. There's no excuse for what I did, but I was bitter. And I'm not using my relationship with my father as an excuse, but let me bring a positive to this. And it's not me. You know, my dad was an alcoholic. My dad was abusive back in the day. But he did not end up that same man. And our relationship didn't end up the same way. And so let me use this podcast to tell you a quick story. Everybody knows, single mom, 7 kids, from the inner city to Seattle. And I did not grow up with a dad. I did not have a father in the household my entire life, as I remember. I think when I was a little boy, he was there for... And then I went down to visit in the summers a couple times. And then, again, because of what would happen, Mom said, you're not going down there anymore. And then I didn't see him for decades. But let me share some good news. I'd like to remember when, but it was in the 2000s, that my dad came back into my life and he visited. He was not the same man. And from that moment forward until his death in 2013, we had an amazing relationship. And it's uncanny. There were some similarities there in terms of, he loved construction. He was a war hero in Korea. Multiple Bronze Stars, Purple Heart. He was a hard man. He was always a hard man, and everybody in the family knew that. He was a hard man. But he was brilliant, in my opinion. He was an entrepreneur. I loved my father very deeply. I always loved him, and I always missed him. But we came back together, and we had a good relationship. He was there at my daughter's baptism and many other times after. And I was there at his bedside when he had stage 4 cancer. I was deployed. My unit brought me back. He came from American Samoa to Tripler Army Medical Center. Yeah, that pink hospital in the hill. And Oahu, Hawaii. And the family gathered. And my dad, being hard. I remember being in the hospital room and my dad said, that boy, because he always had an accent, that boy, Missy, he did this. And my cousin has the same name, Missy. He said, Missy, you don't have to say that. And I said, don't let my dad speak. And he says, he did this and he did this. And he says, but that boy, he did good with his life. And I'm proud of him. My dad died loving his son and proud of his son. And so for all of you who want to judge me, who want to vilify me, slander me, and deem me non-worthy, okay, you have every right. That's fine. But my dad forgave me, and he loved me, and my God forgives me. It's called redemption. So know that, because I moved on with my life. And no matter what people say and how they try to spin with half-truths, that is the only crime I've ever had, that misdemeanor from 1993. Let me also bring clarity for everyone to understand something. And again, I apologize for getting emotional. I've had a top secret, sensitive, compartmentalized information clearance for a long, long time, up until my retirement in 2015. And then when I left active duty, stayed National Guard, I kept my clearance. And then I went to work for the federal government, United States Department of Energy. And I had a Q SCI clearance. And please Google those things. And if you need proof, I'll provide it. So as you go through and you hear all these things about this lifespan of evil and crime, like I was Jesse James or something, 1990s, and those things that happened there, that misdemeanor, and yes, a bankruptcy. And I told someone in my last podcast, here's my credit score, 818. Everybody's entitled to improve themselves in life. And for those of you who want to shame a person for the rest of your life, as the governor of Washington State, I will not have it. As the governor of Washington State, I know personally that there's good in everyone, no matter what people say. I will not have of it. And if a person served time in prison and they come out and they want to redeem themselves, that's between them and their Lord, if that's what they choose. We have a freedom of religion, a freedom of consciousness, Article 1, Section 11 of the Washington State Constitution. You go to the First Amendment. Anybody has a chance to do better in their life. That is not determined by other people. That is up to them. I'll leave it alone. I'll leave it up to your comments. I digress. I don't know what got me going, and thank you, AD. I kind of got excited there for a minute, but this is what it really comes down to. And hello, Gina, my dear constitutional friend, and thank you for everything. It was good seeing you at the convention. Guys, we must do better, and I don't mind taking the arrows. I don't. I weep for my father because I love him. I miss him, and at least God gave him to me for the last part of his life and the best part of my life, and I'm not done. But did I learn from my mistakes? Yes. Did I grow from it? Yes. And I had from, do some math. I met my wife in June of 1997, and I have never looked back. And boy, my life has been great. And I have 3 beautiful children. And yes, for those people who say he abandoned his children, no, you keep talking like that. I'll bring my children on, all 3 of them, and you can talk to them. And you can hear from my daughters. And yeah, my older ones, my oldest daughters, the one that people want to talk about, they love their daddy. They've always loved their daddy. And so we're going to have some good discussions. We're just getting started. What they underestimate with me is I don't hide, I don't run, I don't take bribes, because you can't own me. That ship sailed, 1864? Yeah, no, we don't play those games anymore. So we're going to do some questions, you guys. I'm getting fired up. I'm not getting fired up. Not yet. Just getting a little emotional. Okay, this is from Roy. What will you do to correct the schools being overfunded and teaching LGBTQ? So, and AI plus, yeah. You study for this stuff. You got to remember it. So, Roy, yeah, in this last session, they passed a new law that says we're going to teach LGBTQ AI plus history in schools. We're doing that. Yet only 50.7% of students were able to meet grade level standards in English and language arts, and only 37.9% of them were able to meet grade level standards in math, and only 42.7% were able to meet grade level standards in science. We're graduating them at 83%. So we're failing them academically. We're graduating them at a B level, and it's costing us about $18,698 per student. But yet they think it's more important to teach them LGBTQAI plus history. No. And it's 44% of our budget, which is billions of dollars. Article 9 of the Washington State Constitution says we have a paramount responsibility to provide a child with a quality education. So we're failing to provide them with a quality education based on the statistical numbers and results when you average out all the school districts according to the OSPI report card. You can Google that, OSPI report card. No, Roy, this governor is not supporting that. So it's called accountability. It's state funding is the primary. Title X schools get federal funding, but the primary source of funding for schools is state funded. I believe in school choice. I believe in homeschooling. And so I'm going to be pushing for that. But I believe in giving teachers back their classrooms. I think we should have a strategic plan for every school district that says we focus on the classroom and the student. Give those teachers the tools to teach the fundamentals of education. English, language arts, mathematics, and science. Give them those resources. But we set a strategic plan with measurable key performance indicators and bring accountability measures tied to that funding support and give them an opportunity. They will do the right thing, especially when there's competition. I will be writing an education reform bill for Washington State, as well as a voter integrity bill for Washington State that I'll have ready by day one when I report for duty. So yes, Roy, change needs to happen. We're going to bring the heat. Joanna, will you change the bill that states that only cage-free eggs will be sold in the state of Washington? This is making the cost of eggs go way high. So, Joanna, you've got me, and I need to research that. And so I apologize. I'm not equal to the task right now on this question, but you don't have to ask that again. On my next podcast, I'm going to show up with an answer for this. I have to say, I am unfamiliar. You've got me. And this is one thing, and I appreciate it. I really do appreciate this. I have no answer for you. I have no answer. And I seem happy because I don't have an answer for you. It's only because I like to think that I research and I learn and I grow and I want to be equal to the task, but this is an opportunity for me to learn and grow, and I want to thank you for that. This is not going anywhere. I'm going to answer this next week. So thank you for asking this question, and I will be reporting back to you next week in the podcast. It'll be my first thing that I do on questions and answers. Thank you, Joanna, for this opportunity. David, did you receive, leadership training for preparation for E7? Yes, absolutely. So, David, thank you for your service. You must be a veteran. And yes, all through training in the military, and many of you, regardless of your branch of service, we all go through training. All of us do. And leadership. And so I want you to understand also, not only do we go through leadership as we advance in rank, and I did, working my way up to senior enlisted, I turned down the opportunity for direct commissioning because I have an advanced degree, I have a master's degree in science and human resource development, and working toward my PhD. But not only that, I taught leadership at Washington State University. I've written leadership methodology. I've been teaching leadership for a long, long time. It's my thing. And thank you for asking that question, my friend. Leadership is huge. And that's what's missing in Washington State. Leaders set the culture. Leaders stand for what is right. And here's the other thing. And this is for everyone on messaging and all of you out there. Leaders unite. So when you don't see me blowing things up, and this is like those brokers of the bribe, when I didn't blow that up and put all those names out there, and I don't call names, and I say every podcast, stop calling names. Don't call names. Don't do that because you don't represent me. If you, instead of saying that person's just simply a rhino, articulate why you don't support them, why you're saying they're a Republican in name only. Write out what you don't like about them, if that makes any sense. But articulate it. Don't call names. The reason I say that is because leaders unite. You're not representing me properly. You will never, ever hear me call Bob or Dave or Jay or anyone, at least I try not to, a name. That's not leadership. Leaders are supposed to unite. So even if someone does harm to me, it's very rare that you see me call them a name. If I have to resort to name calling, leave the room. No, I choose not to. Leadership is very important. Servant leadership is what's missing in Washington State. Leaders set the tone. Leaders set the culture. That's what we need here. And we need leaders with a backbone. Leaders can't be bought. Leaders can't be played like a puppet. And leaders of this state need to serve the people. Article 1, Section 1, powers inherent in the people. I'm going to repeat this over and over again. Governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed, and it is government's job to protect and to maintain the individual rights of citizens. Article 1, Section 1. That's the leadership I'm bringing. Just receive leadership. Would you use that training? Yes, I would definitely use that leadership training. Do you create a new bureaucracy to provide better services for the state? And it's not a bureaucracy. I believe in smaller government. What I will bring is more efficient, more effective government, which will lead to lower budget, tax relief, because I'm calling for a third-party audit of all state programs, all state offices. We're going to find out where the money's going, liquor tax, right? That marijuana tax, the gambling tax, where's the money going? So bringing accountability, fiscal responsibility, more efficient government, right? Because this homeless industrial complex that we have going on, that goes away. We're dealing with that, and I put a plan on the website. So, no, 100% performance review. So continuous improvement plans. That's what I used to do for a living. We're bringing in change, you guys. We're bringing in change for Washington State, and I really mean it. So now I'm going to go over here, and we're going to see what's going on over here. Berta's Award, thank you, and I appreciate you guys. Let's see what's going on here. I'm going to go to the bottom and work my way up here. Bear with me. Don't let me miss you guys, and if I do, because there's so many. You guys are amazing. Just ask it again. Don't let me miss you. Oh, thank you, janitor. I appreciate you. Article 1, yep. True leaders, big picture, citizens. That's who we serve. J.T. Wilcox is the minority leader. Yep, not a big supporter of mine. Big supporter of Dave's. Yes. Robert Sutherland is a good man. in my opinion. I just saw the name. I don't know what you guys are saying or what your conversation is. I like Robert Sutherland. That's just my 2 cents. And now, if you don't agree with me, you guys should not agree. I speak truth. I tell you what I feel. Oh, thank you, Denise. Always keeping it classy. We don't get nasty. I see JT Wilcox's name pop up a lot here. Yeah, he doesn't support me at all, and that's fine. He is part of the mainstream Republicans of Washington. Dave is as well. I think they're both on their what do you call that, advisory board? And that's fine. I mean, everybody has a right to believe as they believe. There's nothing wrong with that. So I don't want to say it as that they're bad folks or something. It's just something different. Let me see. Thank you. Samir for governor. Yeah, leader. Yes. It's everything. We're going here. Your story, real story, life. No, amen. This is life. When I talk about of the people, are you guys with me in this? This is not a Manchurian candidate thing, right? This whole notion of the perfect candidate with a purist past and all this other stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you've never made a mistake in your life, I mean, yes, right on, rock on with your bad self. Yes, I'm right on. I'm happy for you. I think that's cool. I'd like to meet you. I think, man, where's JT's names popping up here a lot on here? I mean, a lot. You guys must have been having a good conversation on here. I'm with you. All right. Hold on. I got a question that popped up here. Bear with me. I know we got more questions here. Hang on, you guys. Hang on. I don't want to miss anything, you guys. And by the way, if something comes up here, I'm still going to answer. And if I'm looking here and something comes up and I'm typing here, I will answer it because I can multitask. All right. I'm looking. Okay. I'm still waiting for this to come up, and as soon as it does, I'll do it. Let's see. Riots, getting gas. Chaz in the chop. Don, and did nothing for the people. And so I'm reading this. You're saying more. You were there, and the governor deployed national. Yeah. So my understanding, Don, this is Chop Chaz, guys. This is a question from Don, and I love your Don. I love your name, and so Don, if you're listening to me, so that name, right? I know that name because I used to watch that show, right? Soul Train, right, Don? Am I right? You just got to put it in there. I'm sorry if that names is where it's coming from because I used to watch that show. Inside thing. Yeah, and the National Guard. So the National Guard was there, and my understanding was really they were not even active. They were like headquartered in a stadium someplace and not even active and doing anything. I believe I was actually deployed during that time. But yeah, no, and I also Bob Ferguson, and then there's other people who were running for office. Where were they during Chop and Chaz? I mean, where were their voices during all this stuff that was happening? I don't recall hearing from them. I do recall hearing from them, when it came to mandates and all that nonsense, and it was in support of. So, no, you have Bob Ferguson allowing people unloading M16s out of the back of the Prius, but you want to bring in an assault weapons ban? Mad capacity ban, and you want to talk about gun violence all of a sudden, but you do nothing during that time? How does that make any sense? And that's what we call hypocrisy. So no, and you're right. I'm right here. Denise, mandates are not laws, which is why I stood against, well, that's not why I stood against masking children. And I didn't stand against it. I was for giving parents a choice as to whether they want to mask their children or not, knowing that in Benton County, we have one of the highest suicide rates amongst our students. And so if someone's going to stand against something that's unconstitutional, like mandates, well then, and masking of children, give those parents their choice and their rights. So, no. And in terms of the Chop and Chaz, my understanding, Don, was there was a life that was lost. And it was a black life, a child, a teenager, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And that's coming off of memory, but I do believe I was correct in that. So, hold me accountable. I did not support it. It was out of control. Who does that? You want to talk about a seizure or a insurrection? What is the chop and a chaz, and you allow that? You want to call it a summer of love? This is the nonsense that we're dealing with. That's not political. That's crazy. Let's see what else. We'll see what's going on here. And I think my question's coming up. Okay. Nope. Okay, we'll get back to it. So the elected took selfies in the line. Yes, they did, and they did nothing. No, I got you. All right, we're going to switch, see if we've got any more questions. No, it was terrible. It was a sad day, Pamela. It was, and it was a shame. I'm just seeing here. I don't want to miss you guys. I don't want to miss you. Okay. How will the WSRP help you now with the campaigning, ads, marketing? And so, Denise, it's another Denise. It's a great question. So the endorsement, you guys. So right now, as of today, and we're going to get a report coming out. We have, we are not the big money candidate, which is okay. So when you hear people talk about, well, you need all this money, just keep in mind, much of what you hear from these conservative, so-called conservative talk show hosts or anybody, when they say you need all these millions of dollars, understand this. I go back, I tell you this all the time. Remember that 3% who stood up against the British Empire when they declared their independence in 1776. Yes, I'm a broken record, but that declaration and that time means everything because we would not be here if not for them. Money does not drive everything. But to answer that question, proud to do so. We've been making some nice deposits just since last week because of all of you. So every day, our average donation on WinRed and other sources is going up. We have numerous offers for fundraising. I was just on Andrew Wilkow, as many of you know, this morning. I'm a nationally syndicated radio show. Tomorrow morning, I'll be doing another nationally syndicated show. I was in Cairo. I was in King. I think I'm going to be in King. I know I'm going to be in King 5. I was on Fox 13. I'll be going on Fox News here pretty soon. I think it's being scheduled. Yeah. So we went from, as I told you guys, I shared that with you as part of the strategy. I also told you that we're going to be bringing to bear big money donors who have been waiting to support us. And again, to demonstrate our compliance with the law, they did not pledge any money, but they said, we're here when you're ready. And so we're ready. Now we go into the next phase, getting ready for the primary. So you're going to see our money start to go boom, boom, boom. But we're still going to be focused on the ground game. And all those times when they say, well, Sammy, you were preparing, like Ari said, you brought those delegates. I didn't. Again, they brought themselves. But guess what else? Different diverse groups who never vote for Republicans. I have been meeting with them and going to them and talking to them and learning from them, just like I learned from Joanna about caged-free eggs. And I do understand that the freshness, I understand that because I have friends who, again, do this. And I do take advantage of my friends and their gift of eggs. I get that part of it. I just want to learn more. But no, we have that support network. And I'm going to be probably going on a podcast with my friend Kevin. And Kevin's probably watching right now. And Kevin is a gentleman. I just want to say this. I told you I've been campaigning in the Central District of Seattle. I told you about Kevin a year ago, or maybe when I started my podcast 21 weeks ago. Kevin was the founder of Democrats for Diversity and Inclusion. He was a PCO for the Democrat Party. And I met Kevin last year. Amazing man, brilliant man, author, just brilliant, and a friend. And we talk. Brilliant. Kevin said when I met him last year, brother, I'm going to be canvassing for you. And he's bringing a team. And that's what we've been doing. We've been meeting with different diverse groups, and they're going to be supporting us. And not because I'm compromising my values or anything else. They know common sense. It doesn't matter whether you're a black businessman or a white businessman. It doesn't matter. Overtaxation, underrepresentation, overregulation. We want the same thing, everybody. It does not matter. Business owners are being hammered. This out of control homelessness, it's hurting everyone. Businesses are shutting down and leaving the state. The fact that people can't afford to live in Seattle cannot afford to live in Washington State. The average house is about $635,000 on Puget Sound. That's nonsense, and it's going up. So again, common sense governance, people want that, and they know that Bob Ferguson can't deliver that. They know that. And to bring another establishment Republican into the office who doesn't have the background in terms of performance improvement, you're going to get more of the same. I'm not going to hold an office for the wealthy elite or political class or the Republican Party. I'm going to work. That is the difference. And I'm bringing the skill sets to make it happen, and then I'm done. I'm a term limits cat. You get 2 out of me, and I'm done. I'm just trying to selfishly make my state greater, better, so that I can retire and raise my children. We'll finish raising my youngest. That's it. So I apologize, you guys. I got kind of carried away. Over here, Ralph. Ralph says, would you have signed I-1639 into law? So 1639, and Ralph, hold me accountable, y'all. There's a lot of numbers to remember. This is the assault weapons ban. I'm pretty sure, because I got skin in the game in this one. No, absolutely not. I would not. If I'm correct, and I'm pretty sure I am. If I'm not, I apologize. No, I would not. And I will say more. It's unconstitutional. So is the MAC capacity ban. It's unconstitutional. It's been deemed unconstitutional. And the Amazing Pete Serrano and the Silent Majority Foundation received an injunction, and then they went to the Supreme Court, or Bob Ferguson went to the Supreme Court and got the Supreme Court commissioner to put in a stay of the injunction. This just happened a few weeks ago. And not before that Superior Court judge said it was unconstitutional. Judge Benavides from the Ninth Circuit Federal Court in California, which we're in the Ninth Circuit, said it was unconstitutional. There's a pattern. As governor, I will use that as a foundation, as a base, a legal base, and work with Attorney General Serrano to reverse this first through the legislature, but then if necessary, through a lawsuit to take it to the highest court. And we're going to restore Article 1, Section 24 as intended. Bob, or Ralph, I hope I answered your question. So not only would I not have signed it, but we're going to restore our Second Amendment, which is Article 1, Section 24 of the Washington State Constitution, in terms of, and again, Article 1, Section 24 gives us more protection under the Second Amendment. And I can go on, but I already talked too much as it is. And I love Clark County, Glenn, and thank you very much. Don, more is more. How are you going to grow Washington? So, Don, I love the question, grow Washington. It's very broad. I like specifics, but let me go there for a minute. I'll volunteer a specific. Economically, we can talk about tourism. Right now, tourism is down because of the out of control homelessness. It's out of control, and so now you have feces in the streets. It smells like urine. Tent cities. It's crazy down there. Citizens don't even want to bring their children down there to have a nice meal. It's nasty. It was the Emerald City, so we need to bring it back. We should be the tourist capital this side of the Mississippi, and I said that. I was with the Seattle Times editorial board yesterday. Busy day. I drove to Seattle, came back, and did a Twitter Space podcast-like event. Wonderful people. But a busy day. And boy, was that quite the editorial board interview. A lot of people in the big room, long table, nice people. I don't know what you guys will think, but I thought they were nice and great questions. Gave me a chance to go in depth. But growing Washington State, we need better paying jobs in Washington State. We need to start teaching trades, and we need to start in schools early on, mentorship programs in middle schools. There's so much we need to do. And by the way, when no one's asked yet, I support trades. So everyone understands. They say, well, conservatives don't support unions and this and that. Nah, that's not true for me. Those workers, those skilled workers, those tradesmen and women, yeah, no, I got your backs. I support that. I also believe in not having exclusivity in terms of contracting and bids. But no, I support the trades 100%. I'm with you. And those blue collar workers, no, I'm your huckleberry. I got you. 100%. Some of the best skilled workers, quality workers on the face of the earth, best training programs. That's also my wheelhouse. So No, I'm with you. So Kyle's good man. I love Kyle. He always keeps me challenged. State agencies, I can't even tell where the 8 cent, figure came from. They did a public record request, but I'm kind of get to it. I've been digging. Okay, Kyle, no, he brings accountability. Regulatory reform, absolutely. Reigning in the state government, that's why we're doing that audit. It's going to give us one heck of a foundation. Once we conduct that audit, we're going to have findings. I'm going to create a continuous improvement website. I'm going to do a quality assurance website for the Washington state government, and we're going to put the findings in there. I'm going to bring our actions. So we'll have the findings, and then I'm going to bring what actions we're going to bring to address the findings, the gaps, the performance gaps, what we're going to do, and then we're going to report on them so that you know you're getting your money's worth. But you're going to see that. I've already told you guys. So someone asked me this on Facebook before we got here. I know we're going over, but that's intended. As long as you guys are cool, you can bounce off. I won't take it wrong. I intentionally wanted to go over tonight. I had a lot to say, and I wanted to stay here. I want to get through questions. I wanted to spend time with you, if that's okay with you guys. If you're cool with it, I'm cool with it. So that audit is going to give us a lot of information. I answered a social media post, and the gentleman was a great question. He asked me about taxes, and I told him about the audit. I'm a no-tax guy, which means we're being so overtaxed, you guys. It's redunculous. It's ridiculous. It's an offense of what this administration does. It's an offense. That's how bad it is, and that's how I'm saying it. So we stop it. We stop it. I will not authorize any tax increases on anything day one. Nothing. It freezes. It stops. I won't talk about it. I won't listen to it. I won't consider it. So that's one of the very few things I won't have a discussion on is a tax increase for anything in Washington state. Anything. Not even a toll increase. I want tolls to go away if I could. And we've talked about that. I'd like property taxes. Watch what I say. Truly, you pay for a house. You've paid for the house, but we keep taxing you for the house, so you never are a homeowner. Do you see where that's coming from? I'm not crazy, but you understand what I'm saying. You purchased a house, but you don't own the house because you keep paying for the house, and because we've been brainwashed into believing that we must do that. Now, I get it. We don't have an income tax, and so we have to compensate, and so I get it. The reason I bring up the property tax is because that is what we do to make up for the income tax. I understand that. But all those other taxes that we continue to charge, all those other fees, no one pays attention. It takes geek nerds like me that look at that. Employment payroll taxes that we pay. If you're a business owner and you're paying that. And then B&O taxes. And then L&I fees. And then you have local city taxes and fees that you pay if you're a business owner. I know. I've been there. That's something else you should consider when you're voting for someone. Please do. So no more. We need to stop that. They've doubled our budget. What is it? $72.5 billion. And then the beginning of last session, or the end of last session, they bumped it up $2 billion more. This administration has grown out of control. I plan on shrinking it and bringing efficiencies. So no, taxes are an offense to me. And we're hurting our citizens, and we need to make living in Washington state more affordable. Again, we are short units, housing units in Washington state, so we should partner with our builders. We should partner with our builders and developers in Washington state. We talk about growing. Don Cornelius asked us, we should talk about growing in Washington state. Let's partner with larger businesses as well as small business owners, but larger businesses to locate them in rural counties. As long as the citizens of those counties are willing and they want to bring in those jobs and that wealth and that money, then let's incentivize bringing and recruiting those corporations to locate there. That offsets the traffic and congestion in the inner city and brings that opportunities to rural locations. You see what I'm saying? That's a positive way to grow, and it brings wealth to our state, but not congestion to the inner cities. I'm just saying, guys, think it through. Okay, I'm getting crazy here, and I'm going over, I know, but it's intentional. So another website that would identify every fee and tax charged by Washington state, we should all see it. That's it. That's exactly what we're talking about, is transparency and accountability and a mindset of continuous improvement, because the government is there for us. I'm not some kind of crazy extremist, although they'll paint me that way. I think they've already, I'm a criminal, I'm this, I'm that, I'm a bad person, the devil, and now I'm an extremist. Can anybody tell me why I'm considered far right? I'm talking the mainstream Republicans. Or Republicans, or those moderate Republicans. What's so far right? Because I talk about Constitution, the same Constitution that talks about slaves are citizens, 14th Amendment, 19th Amendment, women can vote, yeah. I don't understand that. I'd like to know what makes me so far right. Can you guys answer that for me while I'm here? Assume you would support legislation that return local government control and monies back to the local entities. Mrs. Albrecht, one of my favorite people. I got to keep my bias to myself. It's an amazing family. That's the way it should be. It's a separation of powers. It's called layer cake. If you're a self-governance person, one of my favorites, one of my favorite mentors of all time, a genius when it comes to self-governance. Yeah, layer cake versus marble cake. It says you stay in your lane. So the state government should never interfere with municipal and county government. But here's something that we should understand as citizens. When you pass state laws, that brings a burden down in counties and cities. Consider that. The burden comes from you pass a law, but when counties and cities have to enact those laws and enforce those laws or acquiesce to those laws, there's a cost burden there. And then there's another tax for citizens, because those cities or those counties have to pay for that. No one ever talks about that, because they are not transparent. And I would just argue, and me being critical as a citizen and not a career politician, they're not the deep thinkers that we really need in government. Yeah, we're not doing that anymore. So we're going to change that. And there's so many things I can talk about. Okay, I'm going back and forth. So let's see. Lisa, with rehiring state workers who left during COVID mandates, does that mean that job FTEs, full-time equivalencies, will be expanded in agencies, or people who were hired after layoffs now be let go? That's a brilliant question. Lisa, excuse me, I want to get that right. Be let go to allow for people who come back, or who left to come back. So, Lisa, great question. So I did my review on this. We are short staffed, so we're not full up on all of our FTEs. And feel free to email into me if you have different data than I have. And so it's a good point. We are not full up on our FTEs, and we do have a state growth. And I know I said reduce, but bear with me. I'm an HR person. I'm an HR by education. I'm an HR by past experience in HR specialist positions, and I'm a PHR by certification after the graduate degree. So it's my wheelhouse too. So in terms of succession planning, you guys, and I won't bore you. This is for Alyssa because clearly she knows some HR stuff. We have a down cycle on retirements, which means people are retiring at this time, and over the next 2 to 3 years. It was 5 years, a couple of years ago. Monumental. And so next January, when I assume office and swear in, there'll be a transition. So people leaving versus rehiring of people who refuse to get the mandatory vaccination. And what Liz is talking about is I have pledged to rehire those individuals who refuse to get the vaccination. There's a net plus to what I'm proposing. And so let's see if I can do this clearly. When we lose people who leave, those are usually the most senior and the most knowledgeable workers, right? Well, they're leaving, as I was just saying. They're attriting out of the workforce through retirement. Now I make this proposal, and then within a few months of assuming office, we're going to start to recruit those individuals who are going to be hired back in. Those are individuals that were already in the workforce who had experience, knowledge, skills, and abilities. Typically, when people attrit out or they retire out, they take that tacit knowledge that they have with them, and that is a loss for the organization. My wheelhouse. So with my action to bring those people in, bring them back, do you see what we're gaining? Not only are we're gaining their experience, and we're immediately feeling FTEs that we're losing through attrition, natural attrition, and we're saving hundreds of thousands of dollars in recruiting. It's a net plus plus. That's what I meant to say. Yes, I'm a geek. Yes, it's weird. Yes, it's a thing. So, Lissa, thank you for your question. I do hope I answered that, but I think I did. I think I did it with specificity. And so, please, if I didn't, throw some more. HR is kind of my jam, too. So, who in the Republican promise? Boy, Adriana, you're on point. Who in the Republican Party promised Dave Reichert that you will be disqualified in that race? Good question. Guys, it's over. And here's what I want to say to this. You deserve it. So for you guys, for me, it's over. But for you guys, you deserve your answers. I just want all of you to know I'm not bitter about it. I could be. I'm not. I'm really not. And I know it's weird. And please don't ever make the mistake that others make. Usually on the other side, I guess, and it shouldn't be a side. The fact that I'm a kind person, I'm not a weak person. Quite the opposites. Again, I've said this before. Sun Tzu said, strong men act weak and weak men act strong. Remember that. And there's a reason for it. Why would a strong man act weak? Why would a weak man act strong? So, we don't need to be bitter. We don't need to call names. And I don't need retribution or to be vindictive. It compromises my strength to be vindictive. I don't let people have control over me by having hate or bitterness. I know that's not you, Adriana. You deserve an answer. But for me, I don't know who did that. I could give you names, but I wouldn't, because that's not what I said about leaders, right? I let it go and we move forward. We have the endorsement, right? We won significantly, landslide. And don't let them, again, smoke and mirrors, psyop anything out of that. Yeah, I don't even want to know. I like to say I'd like to know. I do agree you deserve to know. I don't want to know. You can ask the state party if you wish. I'm not trying to direct you to do that, but I'm cool with it. The people, they answered by their vote, and that's what matters most to me, was those delegates. But you brought up, I'm glad, accountability. And then I'm going to go back over here. So we have massive support and endorsements throughout counties, across the state. Man, you guys are awesome. So this person didn't give their name. We also have an endorsement of state delegates, as evident by the results last weekend. What would you like those folks doing in the upcoming weeks and months to get engaged? Oh gosh, you guys are awesome. Okay, here we go. Brilliant question. So all of you delegates, and we have the list, and so we're not going to ping you. We're not going to sell the list. We're not going to take advantage of it. But you guys, we're not done. You saw what we can do together. Now we have to tell our neighbors. Now we have to grow from this. We're already seeing people because of the shenanigans of last week. When I say shenanigans, again, as Adriana asked, clearly there was deals made. We know that. And the person said, rules were broken and they promised me this, and Simi's a crook, and you could have had a cop and instead you got a crook, and snake oil. Again, you have a choice. You can have that or you can have us. And that's really what it is. You can have the big money purse strings and the people who post websites that try to ruin a person and their family. You can have that. Is that who you are? And I really mean that. Or you can have us. We the people who just want to make Washington State greater than it has ever been before. That is really the choices. Because you already know we are not the candidacy or the campaign of big money or big names or big politics. We're the people. So I want you to go out and tell everybody you know, get a sign in your yard. Let's get some 4x8 signs along private property, along highways and major roads. If you know a neighbor in a big city, that has a yard and we can put a 4x8 sign in their yard on a major thoroughfare, let's get it. Let's get it done. Email me personally. So I don't want you saying, well, I tried to email your campaign and no one got back with me. If they didn't get back to you, you send it to me. I'll get back with you. I'm not letting anything drop through any cracks anytime soon. So let's get her done. Tell everybody you know. And if you have anything that you can gift it. This is the time. It doesn't have to be a lot. I'll take $1.50. Anything. Everyone knows someone. And there's no greater endorsement than the endorsement of someone whose heart is in something. Again, that's how we got our country. It wasn't money and power. It was heart and soul. A passion for independence and freedom and liberty. And that's what we're looking for. That's what we're fighting for right now in Washington State. Now, I represent everybody. I represent second chances. In the future of Washington, our better days are not done. Oh my goodness, you guys, don't give up. Just imagine a clean and beautiful Seattle. Clean and beautiful Seattle. Schools. And by the way, we're not discriminating or prejudicing against anyone. I don't care how a person chooses to live their life. Everybody deserves to be happy. That's my belief. I do. So you're hearing it from me. I've told people this. Yeah, I'm conservative, 100%. But that doesn't mean I prejudice against everybody. Everybody deserves to be happy. Right? All right. Yeah, what is far right? That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know. Jason, I know I'm not. I thought I was moderate. It's a true story. You heard me say it. I thought I was moderate. When I got into this race, I thought I was a moderate guy. Turns out I'm not. But I did. And well, what I learned was, not according to political standards, meaning I don't compromise the Constitution or American values to get elected. I don't. Because what we believe in is good stuff. We just need to let everybody else know who we are. That's it. That's it. We just need to let everybody else know, yeah, we support our children. We respect other people's choice and how they choose to live. We respect that. I'm not trying to get in your business. Just don't try to get in my business. We just have to tell people that, right? But no one ever did that. Now we're doing it. And that's why those communities are coming on board. And someone said, no, Reichert needs to honor the delegate's choice. Well, that's up to him. He has every right, and so do his supporters. And guys, I know I'm spending time. Are you guys having fun? Are we good? Don't let me drag this out. Don't let me talk too much. But let me say this. When I was talking to Ari Hoffman today, again, we had a heated discussion, and we ended with me telling Ari how much I really like him. So I personally like that man. I'm not a fanboy of anybody or anything. I legitimately like him. I think he's a good person. I really do. I do. But we had a good discussion. He does what he does because he's a show. That's what he does. But it was interesting how that show, and I want you guys to watch it, and I want you guys to watch how I interact with him and how he responds to me. And I want you to bring feedback to the podcast next week. Because when Ari was trying to focus on certain things, he tried to shift things. I'm not saying that was bad. That's just what he does. For example, Semi Bird, you're a misdemeanor. And how are you gonna appeal to these Democrats who are just gonna slam you and dissect you? How could Bob Ferguson and the Democrats will slay you and I'm making this up. I'm being silly. And then you know what I did? I said, Representative Tara Simmons. She is a former addict, ex-felon, ex-convict. But she got her life together. It's like 2019 or something. That woman got her life together, became a lawyer. Again, you don't have to agree with her politics, but come on now, you have to celebrate that triumph from addiction and crime and felon and prison to becoming a lawyer and then becoming a state representative, being elected and then reelected and will probably get reelected again. If you cannot celebrate that woman, you can disagree with her politics all day long. But if you cannot celebrate her strength, and you can stop following me, you cannot vote for me, okay, that's fine. I know it sounds like I'm defending her, but there's nothing to defend. She earned that. Someone tell me I'm wrong here. Jump on. Tell me there's something wrong because I said that. Just because I don't agree with a person's politics, can I not celebrate her life's decision to get her stuff together? I don't know about you, but judging other people like that and putting an anchor around their neck and throwing them off the dock and saying, bye, you are dead forever, because no. And as soon as I mentioned her name, it was amazing how he said, you guys have to hear this. He goes, Tara Simmons? The Tara Simmons who voted for this and voted for that and did this and did that. It was just funny because now when I brought her up, because Mr. Misdemeanor, right? That's me. I'm going to call myself Mr. Misdemeanor. I'm going to put my picture and my face on a Zeppelin and fly it over the stadium during Seahawk games now. As soon as I said that, it was no longer about the Democrats being able to use a misdemeanor to dissect me and win the general election. It became about me. And now he was comparing me, a Republican, to a Democrat who voted for I don't know what else. You see what I'm saying? So no matter what I say, no matter what, we're going to spin, we're going to shift, you see what I'm saying? Do not believe in the smoke and mirrors is what I'm saying. And Jason, God bless you. I'm seeing what you said. That's right, brother. That's right, Jason. A recovering addict, and what I say to that is this. You're a role model. I've been out on those streets. I lost my nephew last year. Many of you guys know this, to a fentanyl overdose. Poisoning, as they say. How can you not celebrate someone who's overcome something so dark and pulls it? Someone comes out of prison and they reform their life and they own a corporation and they hire 500 people. You tell me there's something wrong with that person. I'll say there's something wrong with you for not. I'm just saying, come on now. And maybe you're going to say, well, you're just trying to make excuses for you. I know how that game goes. Well, anyway, no. You know what I'm saying. So we're going to move on. That same reason, how many people do you think are going to come on board with us because we represent them? Have you ever stopped to ask yourself that? How many people in those marginalized communities who don't have parents in their families, because I'm talking about the importance of having a father in a home, will understand where I'm coming from? How many people out there who have not been represented are seeing me and hearing me and going, yes, that's something different. I'm picking up what he's putting down. How many young people are going, that is transformational change. He is not more of the same. And those young, I already know the answer to that because I've been hearing them. They have been talking to us and coming over. And you guys, we're winning this thing like we won last week. Don't give in to their smoke and mirrors. Don't let them put up their websites. Let them use all their money for all their big consultants and let them call their names. But one of the things I promised Ari, and I kept telling him, he says, I have not once heard you tell your people to stop attacking me, stop attacking my producer, stop attacking Dave, stop attacking. Have any of you ever heard me ask you to stop attacking people? Have you ever heard me say that? Yeah, like every single podcast I've ever done. And I'll keep doing it, and I'm doing it right now. You've heard me. We must do better. We're not going to lower ourselves. That's right, Marley, you know more than anybody else, my dear friend. Yes. So we're winning because we're real. And that's nothing to be ashamed of. And there's a lot of more real people out there. We're not going to let those guys, no. All right. I'm going to be wrapping pretty soon, you guys. And I don't want to miss you. And I appreciate all of you. And I'm going to get a few more questions in. That's right. There is no growth in hate, Teresa. It's good seeing you, my friend. There is no growth in hate. We're going to bring love. And please do not bring any hate on my friend Ari. I do like that man. And we don't. Let other people do that stuff if they want to. But you know what? The best response to hate, Dr. King said it, is love. The best response to darkness is to bring that light in. And you think I'm just talking words. But back to my friend who asked about leadership. No. That's what leadership is. What is your position on gun safety? We should be teaching it. I mean, and it's been proven empirically. Thank you, Karen. Women's health care and reproductive rights. Well, again, we talk about reproductive rights. I have to say this. Bob Ferguson, their response to the convention was Bob Ferguson, bless his heart. It seems like every time I see him comment, he talks, I'm not attacking him. It's Semi Bird's an extreme mega MAGA. That sounds cool. I mean, it just does. Mega MAGA. He's an extreme mega MAGA. And then he says, I'm for we're standing for abortion and reproductive. While people can't afford a house, they can't afford to live in the city. All these things, they can't afford to put fuel in their gas tank. I mean, all of these things we should be focusing on. The economy, all these things. Our schools are messed up. The ferry system is messed up. All these things, and they're not you, Karen. It just kind of triggered me. I'm kidding. And that's what they focus on, is name calling. And then Dave came back with the cop. You could have had a cop, but now you got a crook. I mean, and they name call. How about solutions with actions? And so, Karen, what I would say is, in women's reproductive health rights, no, it's not my job. It's literally like one of those things you see on TV. It's not my job, man. And it literally is not my job. It's not my job to take away anybody's constitutional rights. There is nothing in RCW 43.06.10, that law, the RCW, that determines the governor's rights, right? The Constitution determines what I do, and so does that RCW I gave. This is not in it. Death and dignity tax, gay marriage. Again, the laws. These are laws that are on the books. And when it comes to a person being gay, so this is for everyone. I have my beliefs and I have my beliefs. But if you're gay, I love you. Oh, that's right. You heard me say that. I don't discriminate against anyone. One of my best friends is gay. And I want to say his name. Starts with a C and ends with Re. He's one of my dearest friends. Yeah. I don't discriminate against anyone. I don't. But when you have laws on the books, it is not the governor's job to take away people's lawful rights. That it's legislature, and that's the votes of citizens. Use of public education funds. I'm writing a bill on public education. Separation of church and state, Article 1, Section 11. When it comes to religion, it is freedom of consciousness. And so I love Jesus. I'm a Christian. I love God. So you know that. You all know that. But if you choose not to, that's your choice. I love you. I love you. I've said that. I've said that. As an adult, you can be who you choose to be. I say not children. And what I mean by that is schools are for education, not for indoctrination of children. I have told people, if a child comes to me and say, "Semi, I'm gay," I said, "Well, I love you. Go do your math." How you choose to live your life is how you choose to live your life. If you're a child, talk to your mom and talk to your dad. Right? But schools are for learning. Children are the product of those parents, and parents are the primary stakeholders in their children's upbringing. That is what I believe. But as adults, citizens have the right to live their life and be happy. I hope you're understanding it's the Constitution. It's the Declaration of Independence. Until the laws change, I am bound by the Constitution of Washington State and the United States of America. And I'm hoping I'm making sense to you guys. And Karen, I hope I'm making sense to you. And then Donald Trump for president. I'm voting for President Trump. Now, I don't agree with how President Trump communicates. I don't agree with his leadership style. I like a lot of his policies. And when you have Joe Biden and Donald Trump, I'm Donald Trump all day long, twice on Sunday. And so I'm bringing truth, and I'm not hesitating. I'm not equivocating. I am not happy with Joe Biden's performance in the White House. Look at our borders. Look at our economy. I could say a lot of other things. I know you could say a lot of things about President Trump. But you asked the question, I was being very honest with you. I'm running for governor of Washington State. That has nothing to do with the White House at all. But out of respect for you, Karen, I'm answering the question. And some people don't answer the question, and they try to spin it. I didn't hesitate to you, and I didn't hesitate to the editorial board of the Seattle Times either, because I don't pander. I don't say one thing to one group and say another thing to the other group. I speak the truth. So I do hope that you consider supporting me. You're not going to lose your rights with me at all, but you're going to get one heck of an economy. You're going to get affordable housing. You're going to get a beautiful city. Yeah, it's going to be wonderful. Okay, I'm going to come over here. Some of you guys probably say, "Semi, you're out of your mind. I don't like you anymore." I don't know. But look at you. Stop that. Desiree. And by the way, hello, Desiree, and to your husband, your lovely daughter. Let's see. No, we are. We're going to do some great stuff. Let me see here. The economic dead weight loss of Democrat policies and society. Y'all got to remember, a lot of my family are Democrats, so I don't call any names. Sheriff Adam Fortney, good man. I just saw his name pop up, and I love his family and his lovely bride. Yeah, he did lose this election, and yes, Dave Reichert endorsed Susanna Johnson right off the bat and through much of Adam's election, and then he shifted, got a lot of heat on social media, then shifted, and it's all good, but he shifted and supported Adam. Restore freedom, absolutely. I'm trying to make sure on traffic problems on all those freeways. Yeah, no, 100%. So we'd like to see more investment in making our prisons more humane, if not supposed to be family death sentence. And so, Don, I'm with you. And so let's have a conversation on that. And again, I love your name. So let's have a discussion on that because prison rehabilitation, it's something very important to me. So guys, I'll say this it's like a talking point, but I think I back it up with a whole deep plan. I'm the guy who goes down the rabbit hole and talks too long on a podcast for like 6 hours because I'm going crazy tonight. You all know that. I'm spending all this time with you, and I hope you're cool with this because you're still on. I didn't know how many people are on. I can't tell. I'm not paying attention. But prison rehabilitation, we need to stop releasing people out of prison right back to the environment that got them in prison. Let's entertain this concept of assessing them. And what I mean by that is, there are people who do very dumb things, right? And we talked about my Mr. Misdemeanor, 1993, 31 years ago. But there are some people who do make mistakes, and they end up in prison. And let's give them that opportunity. We need people in trades. We need people who are certified to do work. So let's consider not release them back in their environment, but let's why we have them. Let's assess their willingness to improve themselves. If they're willing to get an education while they're there, then the return on investment is to bring that education while they're there, right? And let's do that. Instead of paying for a sex change in the taxpayer dollars, why don't we bring in certification in trades? So when we partner with the small business community, they leave that environment and they come to an environment where they have a good paying job. That makes sense to me. And instead of shaming them because they're an ex-convict, let's make sure that they have job placement, that they're not out there having to choose between hustling in the streets again and having a job. You see what I'm saying? And now they're a taxpayer. So they're not stealing from you because they have no choice. They're paying taxes to offset. I'm just saying. I think it's common sense. So it's a thought. It's a thought. Trade schools. That's right. Teresa, that's part of my homeless program is once they get clean. It is that inpatient program. Once they get clean, we're bringing trades and certifications. And when they graduate from the program, that Monday they go into transitional housing. Their families will be attending their graduation. That'll lift them up. Many of them have lost their children because of their addiction to the darkness. So we're going to reincorporate them, and then they report for work on Monday. That'll cut the recidivism rate down significantly, and they become taxpayers. That's right. It's a mindset. I see my friend Tim Ramsey. I just see his name. He's a good man, so I got to give shout outs when I see a name pop up, and that's my friend. So I'm just going to say I don't know what it's about, but I see my friend and I say he's a good man. It's my first thought. As a former corrections officer, they do not see the same prisons already. So again, you guys are having a discussion, but I still stand by. Tim's a good guy. Marlon, just for saying. Agreed on trade school. Okay, you guys are saying some stuff. Okay, go send me. We created a convention. Okay, good. I'm down. I'm all for Seattle. Yeah, 36ers. I'm all for learning. So let's partner with some stuff. I'm loving this. Let's make some stuff happen for Washington State. That is one thing. I love learning. I love growing forward, and that's what we must do as a state. Okay, I'm gonna do a couple more, and then I really do need to shut my mouth and let you guys go because I know, I don't even know how many people are still with me. But you guys are awesome. All right, guys. This is crazy. And I know there's a lot I wanted to say. There's a lot. But I'm so excited from that convention. I can't help myself. And I appreciate you. I'll say that a million more times. Jessica, As governor, will you clean up our skies? Almost every day. Yep. And I know what you're saying. So people say it's a geoengineering. I got you. Drop the Climate Act. Yes. So that is an initiative. And so, Jessica, I got you. So the Climate Commitment Act. So there's an initiative. So we have 3 amazing initiatives that are on the ballot in November. I supported them. I signed them. We have 3 amazing that got passed, which is great. We have 3 more that are on the ballot, and we will be pushing. We'll be advocating. We'll be putting them on all of our social media. I've been campaigning on it too, and we'll do it more. It's a part of the state party platform as well. The Climate Commitment Act, no. So cap and trade is not something I would ever support. Clearly, the other gentleman running as a Republican, he did vote for cap and trade when he was a congressman. He can talk about that. I would never do that. It's bad. Climate change tax, who does that? Not this guy. I don't support it. It's bad for America. It's bad for Washington State. It's on the initiative to go away. So is the CARES Act. I told the Seattle Times editorial board, I don't support it. We had a long conversation on climate change. So when I say I would never, ever vote for climate tax or climate change or cap and trade, it's all the 3 names. Yeah, we had a long discussion. I explained specifically why that's bad and gave them some solutions to think about. It'll be recorded and it'll be shared. So no, I don't support that. Thank you for that. Dave, if elected governor, you alone would have the ability to choose who serves on the Washington State. Yes, Games Commission. Oh, David, let me fire this up. David, North American model for wildlife conservation. Our hunters and our anglers are natural stewards of conservation. There's that. So you would not expect me to know those things, but I don't know everything. Like you saw what I did with the egg thing, so I'm getting back to Joanna. But this I know about. Yes. So I have the authority to appoint on the Fish and Wildlife Commission, and I will, because there should be a balance. And preservation and conservation, it's a fine line, and we have a lot of far left individuals on there who who don't know the North American model of wildlife conservation like I do. But we're going to make sure that we protect hunters' rights. We're going to reinstore the spring bear hunt. I understand the danger of predators. 10th Amendment, states' rights. Releasing grizzlies, I have a problem with that. The wolf problem, I have a problem with that. Coyotes, I got a problem with that. So no, hunters, you have a friend. So all of you hunters out there, talk to those hunting organizations. So here's something for you. Here's an action item. Go to your hunting organizations and ask them, who are you endorsing? Ask them, who are you endorsing? If it's not me, they're wrong. That's a fact. So then there's that. Because I've been out there. I mean, this is not, I didn't make this up for you, David. I've been out there. And I'm on record. I've done videos. I've talked to the tribes about this, the hatcheries. Again, you don't fake it until you make it. You just say what you mean and then do what you say. This I'm on record of. And ask other candidates where they stand on hunters. And don't just take a cheap answer. Chase them, take them down the rabbit hole. See whether they really know or not. Heather, what are your views on abortion? We talked about that. Civil rights. Oh, amen, sister. Come on now. Ari asked me about that. So you guys, I got to tell you this. So I already told you I like Ari a lot. I do. And I get it. He's got to do his thing. And you know what? I mean, it's like the convention. We can disagree with each other and we can get passionate about it. Ari and I did. And I can still like a guy. We can still like each other. We can get passion going. I don't agree with you, but we can still respect each other. He says to me, he goes, I know where he's going. He says, you talked about, there's label lynching. And he says, being public, like Clarence Thomas says, it's a public lynching. And I was born in 1961, before civil rights. And I've said that. And it's funny because, when you're a black man and you run, it's almost like some Republicans, they don't want you to tell people you're black. Right? It's crazy. And I'm a Republican, so you guys get me. When we're real, and you know that. The elitists, or some of those folks over here, they're almost afraid of it. But we're like, oh no, preach it, brother, because it doesn't matter to us. But it does matter to us. It's like, because we're family. I mean, we're brothers and sisters by the flag. We get it. And I said that, I think it was on Andrew Wilkow this morning. I think I said that. If I didn't, I know I said it recently. It's almost like being, children of God, kind of a thing, right? If you believe in that, and I believe in that. But it's like children of America. We're brothers and sisters. We look a little different. My brother Bernard, and you guys have seen me. Many of you've met my brother. Bernard's white, and my brother Bill, my brother Howard, and Pam and Patty. We grew up together since I was 6. Yeah, you want to know who Simi is? Ask them. They love me. We grew up together. We slept together in the same house. I mean, my mom babysat it for them. Their mom, Jean Ann, babysat for me, and we grew up together, and we love each other to this day. We're brothers and sisters, and that's how we see it. But we know we have different tan lines. I'm kidding, but I know I was making a point and Ari was saying, well, you've mentioned lynching in 61. And yeah, I have, because it is a public lynching when you try to slay and slander and vilify and demonize and all that stuff. Clarence Thomas said it. But they did the same thing to Brett Kavanaugh. And so I'm entitled to my vernacular to say that. Or label lynching, which everybody said. White Republicans have evoked the phrase label lynching. I mean, it's a phrase, but because of the color of my skin, it was funny how we went to use that. And the fact that I was born without civil rights, I am proud of this nation. I was born without civil rights, but look at me now. The first ever endorsed and nominated candidate in history of Washington State. You guys did that. Not this guy. I'm the vessel in the journey with you. It was your vote that made that happen. You get all that credit. And my amazing team. Don't get me started on them because I'll start crying. Civil rights. That's a no-brainer. I told you about, so transgender health care. Here's the deal. You have every right to live your life and to be who you want to be. I am not an advocate. I said this. If you're in prison and you go to prison as a natural male, then you're going to prison as a natural male, and you will not say I'm a female because you feel it and be put into female quarters. I'm not doing that, so I don't support that. I will always enforce the law as the laws are written. And it's not my personal belief in this stuff, because again, we enforce the laws as written. But that's something I won't do, and I don't support. I do not support that. And nor should taxpayer dollars pay for that. So if your health care pays for it, which is private, you have every right. Again, I am not a fan of taking away people's rights. Whether you agree with me, I agree with you. It's freedom. Freedom. And the Constitution. See, that's the beauty of the Constitution. The Constitution does not always support things that I agree with, maybe. Consider that. So it cuts both ways. But that's the beauty of it. If you're a governor and you understand that the Constitution is the foundation of your governance, it keeps you right there. It keeps you straight right there, and you're not twisting it. You're not taking anybody's rights away, because that Constitution determines what you can and cannot do. The law, the rule of law. That's what's wrong with this administration, is they keep bending, they keep ignoring the Constitution. They keep doing what they feel, what they believe in. I got beliefs too. Trust me on that. I told the lady the other day, said, we should put religion back in every classroom. I said, no, I won't do it. Now, you already know me. Everybody knows me. I love God. I proclaim, I testify almost every day. But no, the answer was no. And I told her no. Do I believe it's the right? Yeah, I think it's the right thing to do. But no, I will not do that. It's a separation. and it's not, truthfully, constitutionally, it is not. If you interpret it constitutionally, and I know Adams and Jefferson, they had a discussion. I'm a history geek on that. I understand the separation of church and state. I really do. But when it comes to our Constitution, Article 1, Section 11, if you understand and interpret that, if a person has a freedom of choice. When you bring in our freedom, when it comes to freedom of consciousness, if I bring in Christianity in every school, then we would bring in freedom of Islam, freedom of Judaism, freedom of, right, all religion. And so, but schools are meant to learn, right? We do everything else separately, unless it's a Islamic school, if it's you see what I'm saying, a Christian school. And so that's why the value of school choice, just saying. Freedom, liberty, independence. And America represents all religions, all races, all creeds. That's the beauty of America. I love our country. All right, we'll do this, the last question on this page, and we'll go over here for a minute, and then we're done for the night. And I appreciate you guys. I'm going to go celebrate my family because I'm going to take the rest of the night off for my family. It's family time. Are there any plans to restore the Second Amendment? Yes, my friend. We talked about that. Let's see here. Gun rights. Yep. It's not just, I got you, no name. We talked about that. And then we talked about Judge Benavides. And yes, 100%. Second Amendment, again, it was unconstitutional to do what they did. It's not political. I want you guys to understand much of my policies or solutions are not political. They're constitutional. It's following the law of the land. Article 1, Section 2 says that the United States Constitution is the supreme law of the land. That's what it says, our Washington State Constitution. We'll go over here. I see my friend Dawn. She's amazing. Okay. I know I seem biased, but when I recognize someone, I've had family members. I had my last command sergeant major and my brother, Steve Saunders. Shouldn't have said his name. That was a slip. Steve and his beautiful bride were on. I missed them. I've had my brother and sister-in-law were on, and from my brother and sister-in-law from Arizona were on. I missed them. I'm sorry, you guys. Love you, and I do. And my command sergeant major was amazing. My commander, Greg, was amazing. Is amazing. Jesse, Mike, who's a Lakewood police. Mike, what are you, like the general? I know, chief. What are you, captain over there? I don't know. Josh. All of my friends that I served with in special operations, man, I love you guys. I miss you. Never forgive you, or not forgive you, forget you. Was that a Freudian slip, you guys? Guys in special ops, we're crazy, but my folks are amazing. Okay, where are you at? If Trump endorses you, would you accept it? Yeah, I mean, I would. Come on, President Trump is not a bad man at all. I mean. Well, that's my opinion. There it is. So, Denise, I hope I answered your question. Yeah, again, we have different tastes in leadership style and communications, and I said that that's my opinion, but it's also my opinion. He cares about America, and again, I don't think President Biden's a bad man. I just really don't agree with his policies a lot. So it's a choice. You can see the separation. I was just saying that. It's not personal. And yeah. I mean, and man, being a president, it's kind of a big deal. And so we don't attack them or shame them. You know, President Biden, you got to give the man some respect, right? I mean, he's still a president. All right, but no, never voted for him and would not, and I don't like any of his policies. Okay. I'm probably saying too much. Okay, one can get around religion in school by making memes for religion teaching. Okay. So I'm asking because of an interview last year, you said you were not, but had a reason. Okay, let's go here. That was good. I got to find that. Ask because, on President Trump. In an interview last year, you said no, but you had a reason. So Denise, do me a favor, please help me. So I know I did Brandy Cruz. Yeah, bring that to me if you don't mind, because I need to be accountable for that. So I need to be accountable for that. So I just, so you guys understand, you would not know what's in the window. Denise asked if I would accept an endorsement by President Trump. And then she said, I'm only asking because in an interview last year, you said no, but you had, yeah. And that would make sense. So at the beginning of the campaign, I said, no, I would not accept his endorsement at the beginning of the campaign. And for me, that made sense. It had nothing to do with him at all as president. Yeah, no, gotcha. So I got you now. I'm pretty sure it was Brandy Crew's interview. And please, I'm jumping down to make sure. Yes. Okay, yes. Yep. Good. Okay, I got you. So we're cool. We're cool, Denise. We're trying. Because I don't remember I said I don't do that whole, I say here this and I do that. No. So we had multiple people in the race, right? We had multiple candidates in the race. And trust me, there were other people no offense to our former, you don't choose and do that, because endorsing one person or another when you're at the beginning and you have multiple people running, right? It would have been showing a bias and trying to influence, and it wouldn't have been fair. It wouldn't have been fair. And that's why. So thank you, Denise, for giving me that opportunity. No, and you're very welcome. She said thank you. So 100%. I got you. Boy, I have to pause in that because I don't do that double talk stuff. I'm not a fan of that. Time to get my bird signed. My brother. Thank you, David. So we were at the convention and fought to endorse me. Mad G, don't get me yelling at the mic, Mad G. Thank you for that. We did it. You did it, you guys. RNC endorsement would help Bird win. Mad G. Let me see. I'm gonna say Don again. Almost like you're too nice. Bob is not. Oh, Don, brother, I gotta send you a copy of my Bronze Star of Valor. No, I'm not saying that to be braggadocious. So, Don, there's a warrior here. You remember what I said again? Strong men act weak, weak men act strong. Kindness is not weakness. I used to teach my students that. I am a gentleman. I was raised this way. I've always been this way. Ask people who have known me. You'll see people pop up, and thank you, Matt G. Back at you. We have people who have known me for a long time, and outside of these people, we're trying to, again, all of my neighbors. And Rick's awesome. Rick Wilson. Pam said, Rick. Pam Caldwell, she's my angel. Rick Wilson's my brother. Yes, thank you, Pam. Look at you guys doing this. Okay, this is worth staying up late for that. These are dear friends. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. And no, you're right, Jason. Where was I going with this? There's people who have known me for a lot of years. And imagine this. I've been living in the Tri-Cities for decades now. Almost 30 years. And since running for office, which I was never going to run for office, I've substituted school here for decades before I even ran for school board. The only reason I ran to be a school board director, and I won, was because my daughter they closed the schools down and they did their stuff. So I got active because of COVID. I got active. I mean, I could have just gone to school boards, but I'm different like that. And back to the tough thing. I mean, you don't just throw punch people unless you have to, right? I mean, be nice until it's time to not be nice. And that's just kind of how I am. To not be nice for me, you don't want to see me not be nice. You can not be nice without not being nice. Use strategy. Use planning. Use precision, laser precision, and execution. And win. Gandhi said, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, and then they attack you, and then you win. That is exactly what happened last week. How in the heck did I defeat Dave Reichert by 72%? So 72 to 28. And that's not including the people who didn't vote for him, right? So that's just what was left over, because you had people who didn't vote. You guys know that, right? So it's actually less than that, but no one says the numbers, but that's okay. How did we do it with less than 500,000? He had like 2 million, 6 trillion. I don't know how much he's got, and I don't really care. How do we do it? I've been broke for what? Since, I mean, you listen to these other guys, his people, his action arm, that every 5 minutes files a public disclosure commission complaint against me. Just ping. They're trying to distract us. I mean, literally, they file so many complaints against us, and the PDC is like swatting them down like flies. And then a few get through, and then we have to answer, and then it's the next one. And they do this all the time. And then they're using the media, and they're using their money to buy polls. All those polls that they're pulling up, again, I told you, Echelon Insights, his big money donor did that. His big money donor paid for the website. His big money donor has their Restore Washington people attacking it. This is what they're doing. I'm not, again, blame. I'm not playing the victim. I'm just bringing reality and truth to what's happening. So with all that money and all that power and all that name brand recognition and being all that titles, and how did we do it? The same thing that happened back in 1776 and why we have our nation. The people. Heart, passion. There's nothing we can't do when we come together and we unite. This is the time to unite. This is why we can't call names. This is why we can't attack. This is why it's the time to be nice and bring unity. Because when we come together, when we embrace one another and say, you know what? If you want to know more about Simi, ask me, or let me get you in touch with him. He'll talk to you. He'll come over here and he'll sit in your living room and he'll have a conversation with you. Give him a chance. Or ask him for proof of whatever you want proof of. He'll talk to you. Just listen to him. And if you're still convinced, then vote someone. That's what we need to do now. Because people will listen. There's good in all of us. Don't listen to the smoke and mirrors. We're going to win. We are going to win. Just like we won last week, we're going to win the primary. We're going to crush in the primary. Just have faith. And have faith in each other. And have faith. Have faith. All right. We're going to wrap up. Guys, I want you to do something for me. Go to birdforgovernor.com. Go to our website and give what you can. Get a sign up. Get a yard sign up. You can go to our website, Bird for Governor. We got some cool swag. So go to our merchandise store, get a sign. We're going to have distribution points. Things are growing. We're getting on the media now. As we said, our funds are coming in. Things are changing because of all of you. Let's keep the momentum going. Let's keep the momentum going and have faith. We're going to win this thing, you guys. And I owe it all to you. All of you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Stay nice. Be nice. And let's win this thing together. God bless you all.